Welcome to this new tutorial. So last week we learned how to do damage, like so, by using a gameplay effect, and we are hard coding 20 damage here, which is not ideal. We would want this to be a bit more dynamic, which we are gonna work on today. Alright, so let's go to the C++. And the first thing I'm gonna do is to go to my tags actually. I want to add two new tags here. Let's make a gameplay tag. And I'm gonna call it damage, and we can create different damage type. Let's do physical right now. And let's make a gameplay tag. Let's say resistance type physical. Now of course you can have more than this, feel free to add more. I'm just gonna use physical, but you can totally have like magical or chaos damage or whatever else you can think of. But we're gonna work with these two for now. Alright, so now let's add them here. So gameplay tags dot physical gameplay. You know what? Let me just copy this and then replace it here. So it's damage type dot physical and let's call it physical damage. Same here. Copy this. This one's gonna be resistance type. And same thing here. So resistance dot type dot physical. And I'm gonna call it physical resistance. Or defense or whatever you want. Alright, now we have new tags. Next we want a damage number that we can tweak. Let's add this to. Now there's multiple places where we could add this. I'm gonna add, let's do one in the ability first. And we'll see the limitation of it. Let's create a property. Let's do, I don't know, edit default only, blueprint, read only, read write. I mean, doesn't really matter right now. Category equals, what is it gonna be? Let's call it damage. I'm gonna make a float. I'm gonna call it damage. And by default, it's gonna be 0. Alright, now we have damage in our ability, so we can set a damage number on any abilities that we want. Okay, cool. Next, let's go to our component, collision actor. Alright, I'm gonna go to my collision actor and find where I'm creating the effects. Where is it? Here we go, here. Prep effects specs. And let's modify this function a little bit. So, for one, I would like to move this outside this loop. And then do the check here if ASC. If not ASC, I'm just gonna return. Okay, so let's take this. Now we don't need that. This is not needed now. Same thing for the ability actually. I'm gonna cut this and leave this here. And same for the effect context. Let's put it here, outside of the loop. Yeah, that seems correct. Okay, now that it's outside, everything is outside of the loop. I don't want my damage effect to be bunched up together with all the other effects. So we will have to create a separate gameplay effect for it. So let's go to the where is it? Notify here, and the notify data. And here I'm gonna create a new U property. Actually, let me just copy this. And it doesn't need to be an array, so I'm just gonna do this, and I'm gonna call this damage effect class. Alright, and let's go back here. Now, after looping over all the effects that we want to apply, such as the, I don't know, stagger, knockback, or whatever, then we're gonna check if we have a damage effect. If we do have a damage effect, then we want to do the same thing here. Damage effect, here we go, passing the damage effect. Alright, that's creating the damage effect that we're gonna apply. Next, I'm gonna capture the damage number that we set on the ability. I'm gonna do this, the ability damage. Right, so I'm capturing this number here that we can set on our ability. Now that I have the damage that we have set on our ability, I need to set it in the spec handle so we can use it to do damage. So I'm gonna do a U ability system library, assign tag set caller by magnitude, passing in the spec handle, and we need a tag. It's gonna be FTP gameplay tag. I think we need the include for it, right? Yeah, let's add the include. Include tags, this thing. So gameplay tags. Here we go. Gameplay tags dot what is it? This dot physical damage. I'm gonna use physical damage here, and passing in damage. If you have more, like if you have, I don't know, magical damage or something, you can just make another one of these lines and replace this by magical damage. Alright, so now we have the damage is set. What's left? I think we're pretty much good. Yeah, that should be it. So let's compile this. Actually, you know what? One last thing I should do is remove this line, because this makes it so that if we do not have any gameplay effects, it's not gonna apply the damage. So we might want to maybe just apply damage without having any gameplay effect. So I'm just gonna remove this line also. Alright, now let's go to our ability, and I'm gonna use tackle for example. And now we can set a damage on it. So let's say for this ability I want to do 30 damage. Alright, and I believe all I have to do now is remove this and use SetByCaller. Yep, and compile this. Alright, this should work now. Well, actually, not yet. let's go to this thing here. Let's go to here. And yeah, I need to delete this from here and add it in under damage effect class. Here we go. Now let's test this out. I don't need the second guy. Boom. Get magnitude when magnitude had not yet been set by caller. I believe it's maybe this thing here. Oh, I see, I forgot to add the tag here. So after we use SetByCaller, you want to expand this and select the tag that's gonna activate it, which is physical damage, so Damage.Physical. Compile it, and now let's try this again. Bim, there we go, 30 damage. It works, perfect. Now the issue with this is that for this ability it's fine, but let's say if we were trying to add damage to, where's the other one? This ability. Alright, let me go into it. As you see, this one has two parts to it, right? We have this part that does damage at first, and then the big boink here. So now the problem is, let me delete this and set the damage here. Same thing here, I'm gonna delete this, set the damage here. And the problem with this is that if we set a damage number on it, for example, if I set the damage to, let's say 10, then both part of the attacks are gonna do 10 damage. And what I would want is for this to do a bit less damage and the big smash to do more damage, right? So currently, if we use it, let me just adjust this to 100. If I try to use it, it's gonna do boom boom before doing 10, which is not ideal. So let's find another way of doing this. Let's minimize it. Now, instead of using my ability, which you could do, now if you don't mind this type of behavior, then feel free to just leave it in your ability. I'm gonna remove this from my ability. So let me remove this line here. I'm gonna edit this in a moment. Let me go to my ability and delete this. You don't need that here. Instead, let me go to the CollisionActivationData. Yeah, I'm just gonna add it here. So I'm just gonna add this here. So let's do a float damage equals 0 and add a U property to it. It can be edit anywhere, blueprint, read, write, category of damage. Alright, cool. So now we have that in our collision data instead. I can close this. So back to the collision actor. I'm gonna set damage to getting the cache collision data, get the damage from it, and that's what this is gonna be set to now. So now if I compile this again. Okay, now that it's compiled, let's go back to our animation here. Where is it? This one. And now I can set the damage here instead. So I can do, let's say this does 10 damage, and then here I'll say that this is gonna do 20 damage. Let's test this out. So 10 and 20. Yay! Works. Very nice. Cool. Now, so the problem that we have currently is that we are only using the physical damage, but we are not using our resistance, right? We would probably want to take our physical damage and subtract the physical defense or something from it, right? And to do that, we're going to use a custom calculation, which we are going to work on in the next tutorial. And I think I will end this here. So I have a Patreon, link is in the description, have a look at it. I have exclusive tutorials there, and the next tutorial is already uploaded there, and I have a plugin available. Like, comment and subscribe, and see you in the next one.